Going to call this meeting to order. Mary, read the roll, please.
Brumbaugh.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Ferris.
Here.
Garcia.
Here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all those who are here physically in attendance, as well as those who are joining us by social media. And we move on to item number C. I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brumbaugh. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Ferris.
Yes.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Public comment. Anybody signed in for public comment? Anybody wants to say? Nobody. Okay. That particular time, we're going to move into public hearing. I'm going to open a hearing for the revenue neutral rate hearing at actually 5:01. Maybe we can have some healthy discussion in that process. You will find a resolution that's been included that the commission will have to pass during this hearing in order to make it legitimate. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Sharice.
As you have in front of you, the R&R compliance, which is to have the public hearing. Even though you are meeting what is projected to be the revenue neutral rate, we still recommended having the hearing just in case the valuation comes in later in the fall and it jostles that number a little bit. So we're in compliance with the revenue neutral rate of 48.885, and as I said, unless something changes with the final valuation numbers. So I can talk about what all included in the budget now, or we have another budget hearing. I can do it then, or we can do it twice, whichever you prefer.
Why don't you go ahead and expound on that?
Okay, when we were meeting on the budget, some of the things that were discussed and either taken out or changed a little bit are items such as we reduced the health insurance funding for the remaining 2021 and 2022. We reduced the projected increase of 15% down to 7%. So we'll have to make changes to the budget or to the plan itself. And then we actually said we're going to take another 2% off of the plan and leave 2% of the 7 towards the possibility if you go to a high deductible health plan that there's some funds in there for an HSA investment. So if you don't go to a high deductible health plan, you're still below what you were projected to need to keep the plan as is. So the plan will have to change. We reduced the levy in the airport fund since the FAA grants are paid at 100% with the ARPA money. Reduced the library operation levy to remain stable. We felt like if we had to remain stable, so did the library. So we made those changes and they were comfortable with that. Reduced the amount paid for donation requests. Freedom Fest will now be at $2,000. Northwest Kansas Technical College Endowment, $1,025, I think. Mary, you have that? Yes. 1,000.
I think you're really close.
$1,024. I'm not sure why we didn't go 25, but okay. We'll roll with it. And then Flatlanders went to 1,500. And we've already had that discussion with Flatlanders. I haven't had the discussion with the endowment or Freedom Fest at this point. Let's see. We added the building official position back into the budget, which was pretty substantial, with the fire operations transferring to the county. And now we've helped that situation a little bit. The code enforcement officer has since resigned, so we'll have a little bit of leeway there in next year. We removed the park truck and the cemetery land purchase transfers. The cemetery land purchase transfer, you really need to keep that on your radar. We're hoping maybe Mary's gonna do some checking on this to see if you have a bond situation that you couldn't bond those funds at that time. And then we made other minor changes to the CIRF and the SURF and MRF. We moved a vehicle lease purchase from the general fund to the MRF in case the commission decides that they decide not to purchase that vehicle, do the lease purchase next year. The funds are still available in the MRF. If you decide later in the year that something happens and you have to do it, the funds are there. And then, as you may recall, we moved the pay and classification study into the 2021 budget. And because of some flexibility we have with vacancies. And then we put into the 2022 budget the 3% increase based on the salaries amount, not per individual. We based it just on the total salaries amount to fund implementation of the pay and classification plan. So I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have, or
Any questions from the commissioners? Everybody okay? Well, as mayor, I'd just like to comment that this was a tough decision, not necessarily on the budget, but on the R&R. I think that one of the things that's complimentary, not knowing, what, it's always a question of what the state will always do, but it gives us an opportunity to reimburse taxpayers, some of the money on their, taxes. And so I think our constituents, will appreciate and value that. It's not every day that we get an opportunity to do that. It's like I said, it's always difficult, and we will, find out a little further of what it's going to be like once final evaluations come in. But I think that the fact that, as you've alluded to, set the 4885, I think, we should be okay. And at least we're covered,
Yeah.
not to be place, the city in a compromising position if we had to come up with more money all of a sudden to, be able to pay the county. So that is my comments as your mayor. And if there's any questions, you can always call Sharice or call one of the commissioners, and find out. But I just kind of wanted to plug that in. So any other comments that here? Anybody? Anything further you want to say?
I have nothing.
Okay. So I am going to close the hearing at...
You need to ask for public comment.
Oh, I did. Nobody...
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to include the resolution within that
Approval
here and
of it,
approve it.
yes.
I think I said that at the opening, but maybe didn't understand. But anyway, so we've got that on the floor. So if there's any concerns, now's the time to speak up. Okay, I'm closing it. Do we need a motion?
You need to approve resolution 15.
Okay, so I have a motion. I need to approve.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 1577.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson. Second. And a second by Commissioner Bromba. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read through.
Howard,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Okay, close it at 5:09, and I think Sharice had kind of an idea. Well, because let's see, presentation of Parliament. We're going to move until we start the meeting at 5:15, and we're going to do presentations and proclamations instead. So, Chief, would you like to take the podium, please?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for allowing me this time to recognize two officers. So I'll read the memo that was written and be really quick. So on August 21st at approximately 2:44 in the morning, Officer Fiesel along with Officer Wright were dispatched to a male subject who was bleeding heavily from his leg. Officer Fiesel arrived and immediately began first aid. While performing first aid, it was found the male subject's leg had an arterial bleed. Officer Fiesel applied a tourniquet and stopped the bleeding. No further bleeding was discovered upon arrival at the hospital and potentially saving his life. So it was the quick thinking and training that both of these officers have had. So what I wanted to do, I just wanted to recognize that because they deserve that. And the gentleman who was the patient, he actually came to the police department last week, and he donated 5 tourniquets to us, just to show his thanks and appreciation. So, yeah, when they took it off at the hospital, it had completely clotted and stopped the bleeding. So, like I said, I just wanted to recognize these officers for their quick thinking and level head. So,
Well, I think I speak for the commission that we are totally grateful to the expertise and professionalism that Officer Fiesel and Officer Wright used. That could have been a difference between life and death.
absolutely.
But thank you to your expertise and that you put forth. It shows people that as police officers, sometimes you can be misdiagnosed and misrepresented. But with this type of activity that takes place in our community, and the chief recognizing and the commissioners knowing about that, gives us a great privilege to thank you for your service and what you do for our community out there. Now, any other commissioners can have whatever comments?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, that I very much appreciate everything that all the officers for the city of Gilman do. And I think sometimes we take for granted exactly how many different situations you guys put yourselves into that takes very quick thinking to come to a conclusion, to figure out what you're going to do. So thank you guys very much for your quick thinking and helping this gentleman.
Yes.
You want to do pictures?
Huh?
Do a picture with the commission and the officers? Pictures of you guys.
Yes, we did that perfectly. We got one more minute before we go into.
We're just waiting for 5:15.
I'll just explain why. Because we have to publish the budget hearing notification in the paper, you have to list the time. So we can't start the budget hearing until that time, which we listed as 5:15. So
All right, we're going to open up the public hearing at 5:15 for the 2022 budget summary hearing. I think that Sharice has eluded several comments as to what the budget has already been. So we're going to open up the hearing. If there's any concerns or questions in regards to the 2022 budget, now is the time to ask questions or be in favor or oppose it. Anything else you want to say, Sharice?
I'd just like to say your staff did a great job putting this budget
Yes,
together.
absolutely.
So,
Wait for a minute and close it. Nobody's going to talk. All right, I'm going to close the official public hearing for the 2022 budget summary hearing at 5:16. All right, we're going to move down to item 4, presentations and proclamations. We've already did the Police Department recognition of officers, and so we'd like to welcome Flatlanders Representative Lincoln Wilson. Please take the podium, Lincoln.
Greetings all. Chief, congratulations to your staff. That's excellent. Dear City Commissioners, welcome, City Manager. The historic 2020 Flatlander Festival is now history. Historic because for the first time in almost 40 years, the program was not held. I have heard from many people about the loss of our big show and concerns about the 2021 program. The revenue into our community and surrounding areas is substantial. This committee has always appreciated and will continue to be grateful for the generous support provided by the city. Thank you. The contributions made for the 2020 Flatlander Festival was much needed, appreciated, and we believe well used. The extended contribution made by you, those dollars were used in the following manner. Upgraded our public visibility platform. We contracted with 6 automotive organizations to consider stopping in Goodland as they travel through. We understand that Goodland is not their destination, but Goodland is an attractive overnight stay. So we solicit that. Number 2, we were able to send an invitation to 200 vendors as a solicitation to participate in our 2021 Flatlander program. Number 3, we were able to upgrade, which really means replace, our 8-year-old computer with a 4-year-old Windows operating system. So thanks for that. The meeting was, sorry?
Said baby steps.
That's it, baby steps. A meeting was held by those participants that have substantial financial investment in the production of this event. Motorcycle Club, Car Club, the races, the Northwest Kansas Tech, the Art Center, the leadership of Joint Commission operations, as well as some city retailers. We understand the budget constraints for 2022. We are grateful for your consideration of your 2021 contribution. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Lincoln?
How many responses of the vendors did you get back?
17 so far,
Great.
which is not very many, but it's still early.
Start.
Of that 17, 9. The big question was, are you going to have it pending this outbreak? So I expect for the majority of those not replied yet, they're waiting. So we expect to do it. We will put it on. Our big show, the Joint Commission is going to take over the picnic in the park and sponsor that for us, which is a great help for us. But we are going to have the 5 Smoking Hot guys are going to sponsor a barbecue cook-off again. And we've already got participation from the city police department. I will be checking with the sheriff. And we would ask the city to sponsor a team or 2. All you guys think you can cook. Now's a chance. But we'll have more information for you. Thank you for that.
You're having some pretty good cooperation with all of the other organizations.
Yes, we are. Everyone at this late stage, unfortunately, they haven't met the numbers that they have in the past, just because of the uncertainty. But from the car club, I think we had about 30, I think her report was 30 to 40% of pre-registrations. Not unusual to get the majority of them 2 nights before the event anyway. But the motorcycle club, they are going to, and are active. They're not sure how many vehicles they'll have, but they are going to move to the south 1 block and use the old telephone building as their registration center. So that's going to be helpful for us there. Hopefully, we're going to put a monster truck in that, for the that north block between the 8th and 9th. That person will charge, I think, $5 or $5.50 for a ride, but he's donating whatever those dollars are back into the community, the charitable organizations. So we thought that was a great thing.
Yep.
The Northwest Tech, they are fortunately doing what they have in the past. They're looking to expand their game program. We need that again. The Art Center, she is looking to expand their program in addition to the beer garden that's there. And our car club, again, they're on track. Some of the city people that we've talked to, the city retailers, they are looking forward to getting back on the street and getting it going. Those retail shops that were not the beneficiary of this last year's Flatlander Festival, it had a tremendous impact. Tremendous impact. So we are looking to help foster that again.
At the meeting we talked a little bit about, is the website already, all the corrections made and
Yes.
up and running and
Yes,
everything?
it is. Yes, it is. New website that, unfortunately, we have new website with old management. Working on changing that. There is, quite frankly, either the high school or the college, one of them has a program that these kids, of course, they can get in there and do anything they want to with it. And so we're going to try to solicit their help as a training aid to help us with Flatland as far as that social media side. So, yes.
Any other questions? Lincoln, you and Brent, thanks for what you guys do.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, we move on to item number 5, consent agenda, the August 16, 21 commission meeting minutes, the August 18 special commission meeting minutes, item C, September 1st special commission meeting minutes, item D, appropriation ordinances 2021-17, 2021-17A, 2021-17B, 2021-P17, and 2021-P17A. I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Thompson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions or concerns? Mary, you throw.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Move on to item 6, ordinances, a resolution. I think this is a standard procedure. But- All right, you got it.
I included in your packet the legal form straight out of the Kansas Government Journal. You guys had an opportunity to review that. Tells you everything you need to know about any changes. Most of the changes are merely fixing errors or making the ordinances mirror state statutes. On the STO, about the only thing that really affects us is the section 201.1, failure to comply with traffic citation. The state now has allowed the courts to waive payment of fines or costs or reinstatement fees, which really pertains to the state because they would never let us waive those fees if we find that there's a manifest hardship. So we can waive any or all those fees if we so choose. Those you have to take as a case-by-case basis. So did you guys have any questions on the STO changes? Anything major you caught that I didn't?
Any questions? Now I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1742.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brumbaugh. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Thompson,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item B, ordinance 1743.
Okay, UPOC, same thing. Not really any changes, and in the changes they do, don't really apply to anything that we pretty much deal with. Once again, I think the staff, Mr. Kling and I and the city manager, although I didn't really visit with her about it, but we are also this year requesting you to redact sections 9.91 through 9.96 out of the UPOC codes, and those deal with marijuana, paraphernalia, drugs and stuff. Once again, we don't feel it's appropriate for Goodland, Kansas to have those. In municipal court, we feel it's more appropriate to handle those type of cases through district court. Questions?
Questions? Not, entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1743.
I'll move.
And motion by Commissioner Thompson, second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Howard. Questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Howard,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item 7, formal actions. Item A, approval of 2022 budget. Anything else you want to say?
No.
Any questions from the commissioners? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2022 budget.
Make a motion to approve the 2022 budget.
Okay. The amount is $17,514,021 for the record. Have a motion by Commissioner Ferris. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
That's second. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Howard,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Item B, request for right-of-way. Therese?
This issue was brought up to me on my very first day here. And it was an issue where we had water lines, or no, this is the street. A developer, property owner that wanted to develop their property and wanted to have streets, property from the city released for road right-of-way for streets. And at this time, they don't have a development or a project in hand. And what I suggested that he do, instead of us dedicating right-of-way from our ball fields on the north and the west side of those ball fields for a road, to wait until they actually have a development in hand. Because, as an example, previously we had done this with my prior city, and then we actually never needed it. So we spent quite a bit of money doing surveys, quite a bit of money with legal work, so don't do that until you really need it. But he needed it to convince potential buyers of the property. So really, there's no reason to not dedicate it. It's just a matter of how much. So once he can use the letter that I prepared, if you approve it, to hand to the people that are potential buyers and say that, hey, the city has said they're willing to look at this as long as it doesn't interfere with the operation of the ballparks, to provide right of way. So it's kind of a non-binding, but sort of a handshake that we'll do this, so, but it is non-binding, but we thought that would help Mr. Wilkins with the development of the property. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So it's just kind of a courtesy on behalf of the city, and basically to reach out to him and says, here's what we'll do. Well, I think it's around the north and the west side there,
North and
right? And, but we want to wait the formalities of taking appropriate action until the project is actually ready. So this is basically just an approbation to send out the letter to him and say, here's what we'll do.
Yep.
Any questions or concerns?
Is the property out there within the city limits, or is it out in the county?
Ours is the city limits, so it would be what we would dedicate. But you would dedicate it unless the development puts it into the city limits, you would be dedicating it to the county. Am I correct, Jake?
Still on your property, we're still gonna
Yes. Yes. The county would be responsible for the road maintenance and such, because it would be, at least half of it would be their responsibility.
Any other questions for Sharice? JD, Gary, JJ?
Is there a time frame we want to attach to it, or?
I'm sure that you'll probably reach out to him as soon as you get the letter out to him, right?
Yeah, I'll send as soon as you say sign it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ready for signature
I mean, as
tonight.
far as the green, I mean,
The whole project.
yeah, as far as, yeah, if it doesn't happen next year, then you're kind of, is there a,
It's non-binding,
yeah, so it's just kind of,
yeah.
okay.
I was just basically saying that, yeah, it's on our radar and we'll look at it for sure.
From all that I gather from him, and I don't know whether you took this or not, but I think he's ready to move on it as soon as he can, right? So with that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve sending Mr. Wilkins this formal letter.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brombaugh, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes, thank you. Move on to item C, approval of compensation study and benefits survey proposal. You're on, Sharice.
Again. As you recall, and as we discussed earlier, you'll have the pay and classification study that we planned on doing next year in this year's budget. And by doing that, we'll be able to hopefully implement those changes come January 1. We received 2 proposals, nearly identical, except for the cost. And as I put in my report, that I believe you have, one cost was $10,550 and $950 for the benefit study. The other one was $26,500 and it included the benefit study. The $10,550 and $950, I did add $3,000, not to exceed $2,000 for travel. Sorry, $3,000. So anything over $3,000, they'd have to come back and get authorization from the commission to do. I don't think you'll need that much.
What'd you say?
3,000.
Okay, so the consultant shall not exceed 2,000 without prior approval. Are you,
I did put 2,000, but in the agreement it says 3. Oh, it does say 2. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong piece of information. Yeah, it is 2,000.
so where is this firm from?
Illinois.
From Illinois, okay,
Mhm.
because I just was looking at the
Yeah.
contract, and so,
They're from Illinois. They've done quite a bit of work in Kansas. Garden City, Dodge City, Manhattan, Pittsburgh, Lawrence, I think they're at right now. And they've also done some work in Colorado. I remember, is it PKN? Is that Aspen County? Colorado friend over there? I think it's Aspen County, the county that Aspen's located in. They've done work there, I know for sure, but they're very well respected. Dodge City's used them where I've come from for years. We've actually, I think they're on their 3rd or 4th study with them. And we found that after the study is finished, they prepare you a plan to go forward, and you always have questions when you actually go to implement it. They've always been excellent with quick responses. And we had issues in Dodge for a while where our HR director changed about every 3 years. They were promoting up. And so we found out, I think it was the 3rd study, that there was some loss of communication. So she actually retrained the next HR director for us on how to implement the study, because ours was very complicated to maintain it. And you can make it as complicated and you can make it as simplified as you want. So she's really very, very good to work with you and find out what other communities are doing and develop a system that works well for your organization.
Okay, any other questions for Shirley? I would entertain a motion to approve the compensation of the study benefits and survey proposal.
I move that we approve the compensation study and benefits proposal of McGrath Human Resources Group.
Have a motion on the floor and it's my understanding that $3,000 upon signing of the contract, the additional $5,500, right, upon the draft report and the, whatever, $3,000 along with the other expenses. So just to make clarification on the figures on that. So I have a motion by Commissioner Thompson. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Paris. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the
Thompson,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Brumbault,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item B, approval of interim city manager's contract. Sharice Tyven, I hope that the commission have had time to look at the new addendum number 1. I think you worked on this too, right, Jake? All right, thank you for what you did. Any questions or concerns? Pretty self-explanatory.
Looks good here.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the interim city manager's contract addendum.
Addendum number 1. Okay.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brumbaugh and Commissioner, you second it. Okay, we want to, just for clarification purposes, the renewal shall be at $55 per hour, which shall be paid with the every 2 weeks accounts payable, right?
With your accounts payable.
And the mileage reimbursement is going to be same as the IRS, is at 56 cents per mile in the event that she has to commute from Dodge City to be with us. And we also granted her $115 per night for accommodations in the event that she needs to stay. So that way, everybody's on the same page and know what we're doing. So, have a motion, a second. Any questions or concerns?
I just want to say, we really appreciate what you've done, and we also very much appreciate your willingness to continue to help us moving forward until we get things settled in a more firm place.
Absolutely, you guys have been great to work with, and you have an amazing staff, so.
Yes, we do. All right, Mary, read the roll.
Brumbault,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Number 8, we move on to reports. Start off with Sharice.
Haven't I talked enough tonight? I just want to thank the commission and the staff that's been working hard on getting your new city manager put in place. You guys have put in a lot of extra time and effort, and your responses to quick texts and emails have been greatly appreciated. The only other thing I have is you have quite an agenda for the next meeting also. We are hoping to have on the next meeting approval of broker RFPs for the health insurance. We will also have I'm hoping, easement on the water line issue. That was the other thing that you got me on the very first day. I'm hoping to get that wrapped up. And then possibly if I can get a response from Andrew Bruner, a vacation of an electric utility easement that actually ran through some property that the electric has been pulled from there, so we just need to vacate that. We will also have a work session about chickens. So I'm guessing 4:15. Is that okay with everybody? On the 20th. And then at this time, I don't know how you've handled your work sessions in the past, but we typically didn't allow public comment during the work session. So I've told them at this point that I would clarify with you tonight, the work session is just for the commission. And then if they wanted to make public comments, then they could have that opportunity under the visitor section that night.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else?
Any questions for Sheree? Okay, start the commissioner's report. Garrett?
Things look good.
JJ?
Like to thank all the employees, regardless if you're in an office or outside. You all do a really good job. Street ceiling starts tomorrow, right, Ken? So everybody be prepared for that one. Otherwise, I don't have any other comments.
All right.
I don't have anything more.
Commissioner's report, I'd like to elude the same comments that Aaron. It's been a privilege working with Sharice. She is an extremely dynamic, animated, professional individual that gets right to the point. She's candid, she's forthright, and she's honest. And I think that those are extreme great characteristics for a city manager to have, and you know, you can always trust that what she says is firsthand or she doesn't say it. And so we value and appreciate that. I also want to extend my appreciation to the Health Committee. I know that you've been put through a lot of work in the process, and we've got still a lot of hard work to do there, but we're going to trust your direction, your guidance, your professionalism there, because nobody's acquainted with the health services any better than you guys are. Continue to say thanks to our police officers for what they do and for everything else that all the department heads, much of these things that get done have to come through you first, and you do an excellent job. And as Sharice said, we do have a good staff. And so with that being said, I am going to make a motion to recess into executive session or the authority of KSA 754319B1 for matters relating to non-elected personnel, and for a period of 10 minutes, and I'd like the commissioners only for a brief discussion with them. I have a motion on the floor. I have a second.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Brombaugh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the time is 5:43. call this meeting back at 5:53. I am going to make a motion to recess into executive session under 754319B1. Would like the commission only for a period of 10 minutes. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the time is 5:54. Call this board meeting back to order at 6:04. I am going to make a motion to recess into executive session under the authority of 75-4319B1 for matters relating to non-elected personnel for a period of 15 minutes. I request all 5 commissioners and Sharice in the meeting. Have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Second. A second by Commissioner Brumbaugh. All those in favor say aye.
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 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The time is 6:05. All right. Ready? Yep. Call this meeting back to order at 6:05 under the authority of KSA 75-4319B1 for matters relating to non-elected personnel. I make a motion to recess into executive session for an additional 10 minutes. I request the commission and Sharice. I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Howard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And,
Me.
no, JJ. Mhm. Call this meeting back to order at 6:31. If there's not any further action or discussion to be held, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I make motion we adjourn.
Motion, who second?
Second.
Rob Box, second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.